Hello, and welcome to the Digital Workspace Works podcast. I'm Ryan Purvis, your host, supported by our producer Heather Bicknell. In this series, you'll hear stories and opinions from experts in the field, stories from the front lines, the problems they face and how they solved them, the areas they focused on from technology, people and processes, to the approaches they took that will help you to get to the grips with the digital workspace inner workings.
So the thing I wanted to chat about today, unless you got something else, was ChatGPT. ChatGPT. I can't get the spelling in my head right now.
Let me see what you texted me the other day. It is. Yeah. GTP, I think. So ChatGPT.
GTP, yeah. Because I keep thinking Grand Theft Auto, and it's not Grand Theft Auto, so it must be GTP. Have you had a chance to have a look at it?
No, I've seen some headlines, but I really haven't dug into it. So I'd love for you to tell me what's so special about this new chatbot.
Well, so there's chatbots, and then there's this thing. So I would definitely say this is not a chatbot by the normal means. It is actually it comes across as a very intelligent AI agent. And I say that only because you can throw any kind of question at this thing, and it responds with pretty good answers. I would, I haven't tried the Turing test, but I would probably say it would pass the Turing test because it is really well done. And I've been using it to write some code. It's a very complicated code, and it is phenomenal how it comes back with a solution, an example code, like you write, I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, like you would just write, like you write an email to an expert that hoping they'd give you some sort of direction. But it's come back with code that I've actually run straight off the bat. I've just copy and pasted into my studio, and I've run it, and it has done most of the work. In most of the cases, sometimes like it's 80% right, sometimes it's 100% right, whatever it is. I mean, it does get to a point that it can't completely answer what you want it to do, and I also can't copy and paste some stuff in because it would be breaching a non-disclosure agreement. So I can't give it sample data to say, look at this data and give me the answer. But in saying that, I've wangled it enough in giving it instructions and giving it the errors that I'm getting to actually write a piece of functional code. And I'm saying that I've probably saved 2 or 3 weeks of time by using. I'll give you this example. On Monday morning, I wanted to get something done that was quite urgent for a client presentation I was putting together, and it's something that I've been thinking about for about a week, and I just couldn't get in my head how I wanted to approach it code-wise. So I sat there at a coffee shop for an hour, and I literally spoke to the chat agent for that hour. And at the end of the hour, I had the code working already, and I was able to get what I wanted out of it. That's how powerful this thing is.
And to interact with it, it's just like a free website anyone can go to?
Yeah, so you register using your Google Microsoft account so that you've got some sort of authentication, because you do get restricted to how long you can interact with it for. Like in that time I was talking to it in the coffee shop, it was a couple times it says to you, you need to limit your requests. It's been too many. And there's been a couple nights when, if I'm online, sort of 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock out time, obviously the US is on, Asia's on. There's capacity problems. It's struggling with demand. But all you do is open another window, another browser, and you carry on. But then you lose your context. So you got to explain. You learn, for example, like I learned that whatever question I ask it or whatever I'm framing the problem as, I always keep a text copy of that in another window, so that as I get closer and closer to my solution, I've actually built out the proper question, the proper statement that I want. So if I do lose my session, I can just paste that thing in again, and it'll come straight to the answer again. So there's little tricks to using it already. Because the other thing I was finding is that when you are interacting with it, sometimes, some sort of network issue or load issue or something like that, it'll be writing out the answer. And then as it gets to the end, it'll like lose its state or something. So you don't get to the chance to copy the code or to see its conclusion. It just crashes. And that's obviously because it's a beta. But those little nuances you can figure out how to work around, like I have. And I just can't believe. And I mean, I've been using it from a code point of view. But I sent you that stuff on Tuesday. I was asking it things like, what do you think of my new product name? What do you think of, how should I, this is what the product's about. How do you think I should position it? What's the tagline? What's the marketing approach? What should I, all those sorts of questions. I sent you some screenshots, and, the answers are really are spot on. It's like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, that's great. Okay, I must try that now. And, it's just like having a trust. I mean, that ChatGPT window is on my browser every time I open it now. That's like whenever, because sometimes I just want to talk to someone about something, but then you got to like be careful who you talk to. You don't want to like give away too much or get overly, get them involved, and it's really just about, you want to bounce ideas. So now there's opportunity just to talk to this engine and share it. Of course, I'm sharing it into a big AI data pool where it's going to be regurgitated and processed and whatever. But you get this interaction that's just awesome because there's almost like no judgment. Just good information, if you know what I mean. And if it doesn't understand it, says, I don't quite understand what you mean by that. Please explain this piece of your sentence to me, which is just, unforeseen. I've never seen this before in an AI engine.
Well, I'm very curious to see, one, what it advised you to do, and then two, just what else it can do. I'd seen a post about this that was talking about, I think the time to first million users maybe was what they were looking at, comparing this to like Netflix and other big social media subscriptions, whatever. And the time to million users on this was like incredibly short, which I think is in part due to like where we are, in the age of the internet, but also like the interest in stuff like this that can percolate super quickly.
Well, I think the time to 1 million was a month. And I think the time to 1 million for Netflix was like 11 months.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think that was the figures. I'm just trying to find the email that I sent you because I can call up. I just wanted
as long as you're okay with anything being on the podcast.
Yeah, well, that's why I want to see what I put there because the one thing was it was just a go to market that I thought was so brilliant. I can't actually find my email. So one thing I struggle with Outlook is just got the word Outlook on the iPad, and it's got just the worst, and iPhone. It's just got the worst way of navigating email accounts. Like you can never see the correct account that you're in. Yesterday, this week, here we go. ChatGPT. Okay, so I'll say so. I said, it's like some the screenshots in order. I basically said I'm building a business around end user digital transformation projects. This is the product that I'm building. This is its name. This is the domain. What do you think of it? Why would you what should the tagline should be? It says, so in response, ChatGPT says it's a great name for a business focused on capturing and improving value for digital transformation projects. As a tagline, something like, and then it gives me an example, or something like this could work well. Alternatively, you could try something more specific to your target market, such as, and then it gives you 2 or 3 more examples. So I said, okay, great. Now I'll give you an elevator pitch. And this is exactly how I've written it. Can you suggest an elevator pitch? Here's a potential elevator pitch for your business. At X, we help businesses, blah, 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 blah. And it gives you like 3 or 4 quick sentences to explain what you do. And like when you read this, you're like, that's like spot on. I could never have conceived it in 3 seconds that way. And then it says, here's some additional suggestions to consider as you build your business. And then it wrote out a list of 5 things that you should do in order to set your business up. So develop a clear value proposition, create a strong brand, identify a target market, build a solid marketing strategy, and continuously improve your offering. Now, under each of those bullets is a paragraph, of 2 or 3 lines explaining a little bit more about what each bullet point means. So if you're just looking for some guidance, this tool would just answer your questions. And there's no you could spend hours on websites trying to find this information. which, here you have it in a chatbot that, chat interface. That's as you have more questions and as you go further down the thing, you can really get some good information from it. And I was just blown away. I mean, like I said, I spend days on this thing now.
Yeah, I mean, people both for the coding and for this. I mean, we're talking about courses, we're talking about degrees that people get. I mean, I think you still need more context. You need expertise to be able to input things into the system to get usable stuff back. Like, you need some frame of reference. So it's not, I think the natural question with stuff like this always, right, is like, is technology like this going to replace someone's job?
No, and I did see someone on this, and I think I replied to on LinkedIn actually. You still need to know how to use the information. So if I give you the code example, so I've got a couple ones that I've worked on with chat, and it's giving me the code, and I can't get the code to work. Like, I've tried. I've with my knowledge of the platform, there's something just not right with the code it's given me, and it's just not giving me the right input. So I've actually rewritten the code now myself, and that's because I just needed to understand it. So in that sense, it's not going to replace that level of contextual knowledge. And in the same token, some of the stuff that I've been asking it's great pointers, but you still have to apply it. You still have to apply it to where you are and what you're trying to do. Which it's not going to have all the context, but like 80% of it's done. Now, where this gets really interesting, and you got to fast forward maybe 3 years or 5 years, I would think probably even sooner than that. Give me a PowerPoint deck that explains the following concepts, and make sure it's using don't use more than 3 bullet points per slide. Don't have use pictures to explain simple how like that's how you explain to this engine what you want, and it'll go and trawl and find and figure out and put it all together for you, and you end up with a 5 or 7 slide PowerPoint presentation all generated through AI, and all you have to do is tell it what you wanted. Now that sounds like magic. Works. now if that works, and that could work, I mean, that's not difficult to do if you think about it. It's really not difficult to do, but that would replace a few jobs. Because I know of sweat centers, and I call them that because that's what they are, that a lot of management consulting firms use. I won't call out what locations they're in, where they will have people paid to basically create PowerPoint decks.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of the corporate world that is just creating PowerPoint decks.
It's huge. I mean, I used to spend hours building PowerPoint slides. I mean, PowerPoint slide monkeys. Because all you were doing is taking one deck you did last week, changing a few slides to create a new deck for this week, because now someone else has asked for something in a different way, but it's all the same information.
Yeah.
Now it's the AI consumes the PowerPoint deck, and the person asking for it says, well, tell me how that would work with XYZ values, and it's regenerated, and you're not wasting a lot of people's time.
Yeah. Well, now really interested to try it out, I guess.
Well, there's your homework. Go play with it for our next call.
These things there's been a lot of trendy AI stuff lately. There's been the art stuff that's been going around that's really interesting, where you input a prompt and it generates some art samples. Can this do that too?
Well, I mean, I haven't played with the art thing, but what I did do, because I needed a logo for this new product. So I just went and played with, I think it's logomaster.ai. And I just put in, I went through like a 5-window wizard, this information, pick these icons, whatever it was. And it generated me 6 or 7 examples. And then I just kind of went for the ones that I liked. And then it generated a little bit more. And then you could edit the ones you like. And then you end up with the logo you like. And that took me, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And in the time that I did it, I had 2 designers working on it. I sent them all examples. I like screenshot of what I'd come up with. I said, well, can you improve on this? They're like, no, that's that's better than what I could have done, or that's what I would have probably come up with in a week's time. So I think those things are there, and I think the trick is now to tie them together into a service.
Interesting stuff.
It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, it makes me think when I was a kid, there was some bot, and I forget its name, but my uncle does robotics, so he was always like showing us cool tech stuff whenever we visited their house. And there was some like sassy kind of chatbot robot, like it had some sort of robot on the screen, and then you could chat with it. And it was pretty good at that time. It would sometimes return the like, sorry, I don't understand sort of answer. And it probably couldn't run code for you or, develop code for you. But it's wild how far these things have come in like,
well,
a couple decades.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's the thing. If you go back to the beginning of the conversation, chatbot versus this. I mean, that's what the common chatbot is. It's a bunch of branch logic flows that someone's pre-programmed, and it's using very basic. And I say basic. I mean, natural language processing is definitely not basic, but it's using some basic algorithms to detect what you're saying. My Outlook is slow is very easy to pick up that it's an Outlook issue, or my email is slow. It's not as easy, but it's still a thing. And what we did in various banks, was probably a little bit more advanced than that. But what this thing can do, if this had the ability to make it contextually relevant to your organization, this is powerful. This is huge. I mean, we saw many products that were saying they were this, they were not this. And I'm not going to mention the names because I can't even remember what they were. They were that far off. But if you imagine sitting at your desktop in your corporate environment and saying, I'm having a problem with and think about the industries we've been involved in, I'm having an issue with my Outlook, and this engine has access to all the telemetry data that we have, and all the fixes that we have in the stable, and can match the telemetry, what you're typing, to the fixes that are available, and either fix the issue and then provide you with the issue to the resolution, or notify the right people in engineering or operations, however that organization is structured, or technical operations center, which is kind of a new thing, and say, listen, this user is complaining about this issue. This is what I know about the issue, because it's already got the telemetry. This is the fixes I've already tried. None of them worked. This is the new telemetry I've got when I tried those fixes and they didn't work. Here's what I think you should do, because I've already done the research. And that's happening in like near real time, like within 5 minutes.
Yeah, super powerful. Do you know who created it? Have you seen any?
OpenAI.
I'm just curious. Okay, cool. So they're probably, not going to just monetize it, or do you think it's going to go away at some point and then it's going to be
I think it will be monetized. Right now it's in beta, and it will be for a while. And I think if you're using it for, hobby stuff, general stuff, whatever, it'll be free. But the scenario that I've just given you now, that's the white label. I think that'll be monetized. And I think the more you want to make it specific, the more it's going to become, there'll be a cost to it. But in fairness, there's a mutual value proposition. How do you make it specific? It's going to require some customization, which means there's going to be some additional cost. So that's what you'll pay for. But I think the benefits will far outweigh the cost and the restrict.
Yeah, the potential is super exciting. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for giving me the lowdown on ChatGPT.
No problem.
Should we call it there for today?
Yeah, we can. Super. Thanks, Dave. Cheers, Dave.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Heather Bicknell is our producer and editor. Thank you, Heather, for your hard work on this episode. Please subscribe to the series and rate us on iTunes or the Google Play Store. Follow us on Twitter @the DWW Podcast. The show notes and transcripts will be available on the website www.digitalworkspace.works. Please also visit our website www.digitalworkspace.works and subscribe to our newsletter. And lastly, if you found this episode useful, please share with your friends or colleagues.